Well, one of Manhattan's most iconic hotels is giving an early check-in to illegal immigrants. The Roosevelt opened its doors to 20 busloads of illegals as the city grapples with the influx of post-Title 42. It comes as city business leaders now warn that summer tourism could become a hot mess if asylum seekers take over too many rooms in the city. Here with reaction, Queens Chamber of Commerce President Tom Grech. Tom, thanks for being here. You know, the Roosevelt's just 2 avenues and 2 blocks from here. It's become the hub. I think they call it the Asylum Seeker Arrival Center. What do you make of how this is unfolding in New York City?
Good morning, and thanks so much for having me. It truly is a mess right now, but I think at least at this point, we've got a centralized location not too far, not only from your offices, but also from the Port Authority bus terminal, that we can at least have a sense of control and understanding of what some of the needs are as we continue to get inundated with these folks from our southern borders.
But Tom, I mean, New York City is famously a sanctuary city, and it has said, you know, come one, come all. And Texas and other states are effectively saying, okay, live up to your word. I mean, Mayor Adams said recently, hotels, of all the hotels willing to take illegals, 50% of those are filled up by that population at this point. It just doesn't feel sustainable.
Yeah, I agree, and I understand. I mean, the saying goes in the Statue of Liberty, give us your tired, your poor. And so we live up to those ideals. But the issue not necessarily is between Texas and New York. I think the issue falls square at the feet of the Congress, both parties, as well as President Biden, to allow this to happen. We've not heard a lot coming out of Washington, D.C. about how to handle this in a big way, a big coordinated way. I think it's fallen to our mayor to figure all this out and work with the governor and others in the state of New York. But in fact, it is a mess. And as we get to this season of, this is probably the first summer in 3 years that we're actually going to have normalcy in our city, in our state. And we are concerned about the influx of folks taking up limited hotel space now that we're into this, almost into the summer season. You
know, Tom, you mentioned that Congress should do something about it, and that may be part of it. But there's also executive branch decisions that are being made that facilitate this. This wasn't happening 3 years ago, 4 years ago. This is something that's clearly changed. I mean, would you be for actual enforcement at the border to prevent it at the source?
I think there needs to be a comprehensive immigration policy across our country, north, south, east, and west, that allows people to come in a metered, kind of a controlled way. Heaven knows that we need workers to do some of the jobs that lots of these folks normally do, but without any kind of coordinated control.
There's a lot of Americans. I mean, but there also is plenty of evidence that bring in if the workers' argument drives down wages for everybody else. And if you're not here legally, how do you protect companies hiring illegals or minors in that process? So is this really about labor?
You have a good point about that, because right now there's no real process in place to allow the folks that are coming up here to have the ability to be able to legally work in New York and in the U.S. And that's a problem that has to be solved as well. You know, we were decimated in New York with thousands and thousands of restaurants and other places closed. We're just starting to get back. And many of the folks that worked in those industries no longer choose to work in hospitality and in restaurants. And I'm sure if those folks that are being bussed up here, unfortunately bussed up here, could find positions in those roles if they were given the proper clearance to be able to do so.
It just feels like a solution to a problem that shouldn't exist in the first place, as you're pushing American taxpayers out of jobs and making the American dream less accessible for the people already here.
Just think about the cost. I mean, the numbers that we've heard lately are like $6 to $7 million a day just for the city of New York. That's an absurd number, and the feds ought to definitely step in to prevent this kind of onslaught of folks coming up to New York City.
The feds are facilitating the onslaught right now. They're the ones helping and speeding up the process of illegals coming to this town and others across the country. Tom Grech, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.